So yeah, if you like that Apple metal logo vintage type look, stick around because I'm going to show you how to make it. But on my last tutorial, just before we go on, because you're going to need this, on my last tutorial I showed you how to make a gradient, and it was this gradient here, just like this gradient. It's sort of a metal type gradient. So if you haven't got that gradient or you don't know how to make it, I'll link that video for you right now, so you can go and learn how to make that gradient, and then that should open a new window. Come back here and carry on. So let me get rid of that layer and let's get on. So I just made a if you want to make a desktop background, make it sort of 2500 by 1500, whatever sort of the general pixels are for the background. But I've just got a new canvas, and it's just 1280 by 720, and it's purely for demonstration. And the first thing I want to do is get my paint bucket tool, select this lead colour just above the black one, this one right here, and fill my background. Now, just for demonstration purposes, just for tutorial, I'm going to double click that layer and call it BG for background. Then I'm going to click create a new layer, get some text, and drag my I didn't even need to make that new layer, because when you get text it will make you a new layer. So get some text, apologies for that, get some text, and I want my text to be 600. Yeah, 600 is a good size. It only goes up to 288, so if you just double click the figures there and type in 600, press enter, and you will have text of 600 pixels in size. Then we're going to press Shift Alt K. Shift Alt and K just gives us a default from any Mac, gives you a default logo, Apple logo. And if you noticed, it renames itself as Apple. Okay, so then what we're going to do is center this up like so, and then we are going to command left click on the placeholder on the tile of the apple, create a new layer, then go to our metal looking gradient. Somewhere in the middle I'm going to press left click, and I'm going to scroll around to see where I want it looking, and I'm happy with that. Press command D on my keyboard to deselect, select my move tool or my selection tool, and instantly I've got a metal logo looking Apple logo right there. But we're going to improve on this. Right, before we improve on it, I want to make it sort of stand out a little bit. The way to do it is use this background Apple logo here, right click, convert into pixels, go to our effects browser, drag our Gaussian blur onto there, and that looks alright, sort of 18-19 pixels, and click OK, and it gives you this blur around the outside that gives it the effect that it's sort of sticking off the canvas a little bit. So let's improve this metal look, and the way we do that is in our effects browser again, scroll down to noise. There's a few ways that you can apply effects to what you want to do. You can drag it to the canvas here, as long as we've got it selected in our layers pane. We can drag and drop it to our layers pane there, or because we've got this selected, we can just double click and it will automatically apply itself to the layer that we've got selected. Now this is just noise, and we're going to turn the noise down to about 2%, 2.3%. Deselect monochrome as well, by the way, and just click OK. So this just takes away the smoothness look in the metal which we wanted. We're then going to go to the rain, and we're going to double click the rain to apply that also. Now what we want to do is make it to about 63%, and our angle, I'm going to have my angle, you can have it going to the right or to the left, it doesn't matter. If you want it going left, go minus 40%. If you want it going right, go 40%. 40 degrees, sorry, minus 40 degrees, and going right 40 degrees. Click OK, and we've got now like our sort of rough metal looking logo, which we're happy with. But I want to do some more stuff to it. I'm going to add a light leak to it. With the light leak, I'm just going to drag it off to the side of this circle. Let me move this over. Rotate my light leak slightly. Drag this onto my apple. Now you can change the amount with your sliders here, which I have done, and your saturation again with the sliders here, and that affects the whole sort of Apple logo if you go up too much. So I'm just using this torus light leak, and I've just dragged it off to the corner, and I've just left it on the corner like this. And then I'm going to go to my vintage, double click my vintage, and let me have a look what happens here. I've got carnation selected. Oh, that freesia's quite nice. Yeah, freesia's. So is the iris. They're all quite nice actually. Yeah, they're all quite nice. So this wormwood's quite nice as well. So I'm going to click OK, and we're going to stick with that wormwood. Now, because that's quite bright, it takes away from this sort of blur on the outside. So I'm going to duplicate that blur. Right click, duplicate. Just twice. Yeah, twice. Select them both, right click and merge layers. Then just turn the opacity down a little bit to around 56%. Yeah, and that looks good. Now what we want to do. Right, okay, let me show you something, right, before we move on. With this top layer, this metal, let's just double click it and call it metal logo. And this copy at the bottom, Apple blur, let's call it. And this copy at the bottom, I'm going to select them both and right click and group layers. Now double click that, the group, and call it logo. The advantage of grouping over merging is I can still move them together if I select the group like so, but if I want to work on them separately, I can select them separately within the group. So that's the advantage over merging and grouping. So if you're unsure that you're not going to want to use it later, group it. If you definitely know you're not going to want to merge it, right? Now what I want to do is make the center, or the outside, sorry, look as though you're looking into something. So the way we do that is we select our background layer, go to this this rounded rectangle shape tool here and select it. Now you notice at the top on my toolbars right here, top toolbar, my fill is on none and my stroke color is on white. Don't worry about the size of the pixels at the moment, we'll sort that out in a bit. And then I'm going to do from the top left to the bottom right, I'm going to drag out and make an even border around the outside. Now this itself looks quite effective, I think that looks quite nice, quite a nice look, and it goes with everything that we want to do. However, I want to right click and duplicate. So this shape, I'm going to call that main border, and I am going to turn it off. And then this shape copy, I'm going to drag so it's where the main border was, and then I'm going to make it black. Now what I want to do, I want to right click, convert into pixels, go over to my Gaussian blur again and drag and drop it onto my shape copy. And right away my radius, the radius 17, 18 pixels, click OK, and that gives the effect like you're looking inside, and that's quite nice. And what you can do then is you can use this main border if you want the border as well to also just finish it off. But with that main border, I would select it and turn the opacity down a little bit, maybe just have it like this sort of view. So that looks quite nice. I'm sure you'll agree. If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comments box below, and I'll be back again with another tutorial. Catch you later.